Hey Team Titleist, this is Bud Cauley. This is what's in the bag, and I'm going to take you through everything I have in here. I play the Titleist Pro V1. I've used this model now for a long time. For me, it checks all the boxes as far as what I need, launch, spin, feel around the green. So it's worked really well for me, and I like the window that the V comes out of a touch more than the X. Controlling the trajectory helps you control the distance. We have to be able to move the ball, hit it lower and higher, but yeah, it's just kind of what I see. To me, it's flying through the air well enough for if we get some wind, it's not floating up there, but it's also not coming in too low where you have a hard time stopping the ball. I mean, I think the ball is the most important piece of the equipment. You know, it's the only thing you're using on every shot during the round. And I think finding the right ball for you and also sticking with it allows you to have that familiarity with it also, and that consistency with your game, so you know what you're gonna get. You're not changing all the time. You know, you can really, I think, start to improve more when you have that consistency and you start eliminating different variables, whether it be different balls or a ball that's not fit for you. This the driver, GT2, has 8 degrees of loft on the D4 setting. You know, sometimes you see other drivers that kind of have a lot going on. You know, I love just kind of the black top and the little GT there in the middle. You know, apart from the looks, just the way that they feel. I love the sound that they make. You know, really everything about it. I've played Titleist for so long, I feel like I'm so accustomed to it, so I love everything about it. I was definitely one of those guys. I was like, I love my driver. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, or you're gonna be able to get this out of my hands. But for me, what I noticed the most was the missets, and I felt like it was more forgiving, I guess you could say, or, you know, the spin not being quite as high. It allowed the ball to stay more on line. And, you know, over the course of a year, that can be a huge difference. So that's really what sold me on switching. It's nice to know you have that forgiveness on days, or even when it gets tough. You know, it's nice to feel comfortable with your driver. Here I have the GT 280 mini driver. For me, I predominantly hit a little fade with my driver, and so this club is a little bit easier for me to hit a draw with. It goes, yeah, it's kind of in between my 3-wood and my driver, so sometimes it'll be distance and sometimes it's shot shape. But I used this at the Players this year and played really well. I think I hit it 6 or 7 times every day off different tees, so it really fit nicely for there, kind of the distance and having to hit some draws off the tee. So that's when how I make that decision of whether I use it or not.
Have you hit it off the deck yet?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I was surprised how easy it was to hit off the ground. Just kind of looking at it, you know, to me it looks more like a driver, you know, more like an old school driver back in the day, but I was surprised how easy it was to hit off the ground. And really, between this and my 3-wood, I think they're equally as easy to hit off the ground. This is, again, the GT2, 15 degrees aloft on a C1 setting. Kind of the same thing as far as the shape of the head goes. I prefer the look of the GT2 over the GT3. I've loved this 3-wood. I thought this was a big improvement for me, even from the last model. I feel like this one, I'm able to spin a touch more compared to my old one, which is nice. It's a little better going into par 5s and 2. I feel like I can stop the ball quicker, get the ball in the air easier, or even sometimes in the fairway. You know, if you have kind of a skinny lie or the ball's not sitting up perfectly, for me, I think this club's very easy to get in the air and get that spin on it that you need. Yeah, this one, you know, I've used this club forever. It's just something about it that I love. You know, I went to the new ones in the other woods, but, you know, with this one, it's just, I've used it for a long time, have a lot of kind of, you know, good memories of good shots that I've hit, and so I love this thing. It's something that I may use until I crack the face. Yeah, I love this one. Here's my T200 3-iron. Yeah, this 3-iron, sometimes I'll take out my 5-wood and put this in, really only if it's like really windy. I could hit my 5-wood low. This is just quite a bit easier to do. So if I have a lot of shots, whether it's off tees or, you know, maybe second shots, but mostly off tees where I need to just keep the ball low and get it in the fairway. Sometimes I'll throw this in over the 5-wood just because it's that much easier just to keep it low. Yeah, you know, I've used blades ever since I was a little kid. I just think they feel the best. You know, obviously it's a little less forgiving than other clubs. To me, I think they're the most consistent, the most solid feeling when you hit them solid. And even the look to me also, again, it's kind of simple. It doesn't have a lot going on. When you look down on it, it has that skinny top line. And to me, when I've looked at other clubs that are maybe cavity backs, it just looks a little bit thicker and a little more, kind of more going on. So I love just a simple, you know, kind of classic look of a blade. Some of these clubs that have the bigger heads, the ball speed will get up a little bit more. You can hit it a touch further. So for me, that's why I use the T200 and the 3-iron, is just to get it out there a little bit further, especially off some tee shots. If I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of shots into greens, I'll use the 5-wood more so. But yeah, this T200 will go a lot higher than say like a blade 3-iron would. And again, you know, kind of going back to the familiarity thing also, it's just what I'm used to looking at, you know. So I think trying to change or do something different to maybe get a little more forgiveness, or you know, too, I don't want to plan too much on mishitting my shots, so I prefer just to keep the blades and hit them solid. I have 4 wedges, 48 degree 10F, a 52 degree 12F, 56 14F, and then a 60L. The 48 and 52 are mostly, you know, they're kind of just iron shots. I don't really chip or do too much with these, maybe a long bump and run occasionally, but these are mostly just, I chose these grinds because they felt the best going through the turf. My 56, I chip with a decent amount. I've used this 14F forever. I think it's great out of bunkers when you get a touch more sand, where maybe sometimes the 60 will dig a little bit. So I've used this forever. It's a great club. I feel like you can do a lot with it. Has a touch more bounce, obviously, than like the 60L does. I was a K guy for a long time, and then AD finally got me out of it. And we tried a couple different grinds and then finally settled on this L. I love this club. I think you can do so much with it. Obviously not a lot of bounce, so when you get some tight lies around the greens, it's really easy to clip the ball and hit it solid. It's also great out of firmer bunkers, and even out of rough also. I feel like without having that bounce, you can really get through the rough and chop down on it, get the ball out. So I love this club. It's probably my favorite club in the bag. Yeah, putter, again, very simple and not too much going on. It's a Scotty Cameron Newport 2. Have a little lead tape here on the bottom just to add a touch more weight. This was, I think, 340 grams, so I just wanted to add a touch more weight. It helps me some in my stroke. I feel like if the putter gets a little too light, I can get a little too quick. So just adding just that little bit of weight helps me with my takeaway, and I think it makes me more consistent. Yeah, not much going on. You got a little Scotty Cameron stamp on the front here, have the top line, and then just a little T there in the corner, so very simple.
Not much going on, but it's pretty sick putter.
Yeah, I love it. You know, I've used it forever. You can kind of see it's got some dings in it and plenty of scratches, but yeah, I love this guy. For me, I've marked it the same way really ever since I can remember. I like to put a top line right over the marking here where it says Pro V1. So I do just a straight line. Some guys do shorter or longer. I kind of like to have a more medium line, something kind of right in there. Yeah, I use it for putting. That's the only thing it's there for. I use it on all my putts just as a start line. I think it helps me too a little bit with aim, making sure I'm aimed in the correct spot. I have a top line on my putter, so I'll aim the ball right where I want to start the ball, put my top line right behind it, and I think that helps me be consistent with my start lines. And then on the side here, because a lot of guys use lines just to make it a little bit different so I know which one's mine, I put my initials, BC, there on the side. So very simple. For a while when we had our first son, I put his initials there, but sometimes I'll switch it up. For the most part, I put BC on the side along with the black line.